David Walden. I'm the Secretary of the Trent Village Hall Management Committee, which is responsible for the day-to-day running of Trent Memorial Hall that we're in at the moment. We're sitting in the old bit of the hall that was built in the 1920s and which is imminently about to be refurbished. On my left is a new extension which we're just completing as we speak. When I became Secretary of the Management Committee in about 2014, having just moved into Trent, I was aware that there'd been some talk about developing the hall and improving it for quite a while. And it looked like we were going to really try and make an effort in the next few years after that to get the money and really make a difference to this place. And so I thought I'd better get some advice and help, because I was very new to this world of village halls and grants for that sort of thing, and started off by going to one of their funding fairs, which was a good introduction to how you write grant applications, where the sources of funds are, that sort of thing, which was a good starting point for me. After that, we were concentrating on getting the village signed up to an option of redevelopment that they were comfortable with. So we focused quite a lot of time in 2015, 2016 on getting the village together to agree what we should do with this place. Because as you can imagine, that sort of thing is always quite contentious. There are different views about what should be done, ranging from knock the whole thing down and start again to minimal change or whatever. So we were very keen to take the village with us, because we knew that this was a major facility for them, and if people weren't happy, there wasn't a lot of point in doing it. So we spent that period, talking about options, having meetings, getting the architect along to talk to people from the village, I was in touch with DCA about a thing I'd heard about called a charitable incorporated organisation, which was a new form of charity, which meant that the trustees were not personally liable if anything went wrong with the building project, which obviously was quite an important thing, because they're all volunteers. They don't want to have financial liability for the works or whatever, and it's just a way of protecting them without really changing the way we operate day to day. So DCA were very helpful in talking us through the pros and cons of that, what it meant. They made it clear that it was a more modern form of organisation really, and might actually go down quite well with funders as showing that we were on the ball and were being sensible about how we organised ourselves. So we went for that and got that status in early 2017 through the Charity Commission. So that was another step in the journey. And then it was a question in 2017, 2018 of applying for grants, fundraising in the village. We did a lot of fundraising locally, because we knew that if we weren't raising money, then why would grant funders give us any money? So we had a dinner dance, an auction, for example, which raised £8,000, which for a place of 300 people or so is pretty good. We did a number of different events, sponsored walks and all sorts of things, as you do, to raise quite a bit of money from the village. We also had a call for donations if people didn't want to do that but just wanted to support the hall, and we got quite a lot of money out of that as well. So in the end, we raised quite a bit ourselves, and I think that helped in getting grants. There's no shop here, there's no bus service, there's a pub and a school and a church, but there aren't many community facilities. And so this is a place where we have services, so we have a post office once a week, we have classes, so we have quilting classes, and we've had yoga and Pilates, we have dog training, that sort of thing, so people can come to learn new skills or to acquire skills. And we have events, so we have meals, dances and so on, and as well as things like weddings and christenings that other people will hire the place for. So it's it's quite well used, and we're hoping it will be even better used when we finish the work. I think the personal touch is always very helpful. So having met Joe Keats, who's the DCA advisor for this area, a couple of years earlier, it was very helpful to be able to build on that relationship when it came to applying for grants, and in particular we got some money from a grant from Action with Communities in Rural England, which was very important to us to enable us to finish the work. And that needed the DCA advisors sign off as well as our own application. So that relationship, having built it as it were, was very important. And I think it just gave everybody confidence. She knew what we were about, we understood what her role was, and I think that helped enormously. So I think building a relationship, possibly in advance if you can, of having to actually, get down to the nitty-gritty of applying for grants and so on is always helpful. I think DCA have made me feel that there's a source of advice if I need it, which has been quite comforting, because some of this world is new to me, new to some of my colleagues on the committee, and there's lots of legislation and changes that you need to try and keep abreast of, as well as grants coming and going, as it were, that you need to keep an eye out for. So it's all helpful to have a sense that if I've got a real problem, I don't know, about insurance, say, there's a source of expertise I can quite easily get in touch with, and that makes me feel quite comforted that I'm not, we're not entirely on our own here, because there's quite a lot of money involved now. There's things like fire risks and fire hazards and health and safety and all the rest of it that you have to be on top of. We're having an open day when it's finished, partly because some of the grant funders require that, but we'd want to do it anyway. We've had a lot of help, not only from people who've given us money, and I should mention that the owner of the building is the Ernest Cook Trust, which owns a lot of property and land around Trent, which is an educational conservation charity. And they've been very helpful with giving us funding as well. So we want all the people who've given us money, we want the people who've worked hard, given up their time to help do things like painting the hall, which we're doing by volunteers rather than professionals, and people in the village more broadly. So yes, there will be an open day, which I think will probably kick off the publicity to try and encourage people to use the place as much as possible.